Hello and welcome to Sport D Song Boxing Podcast. I am Alex LeBox as usual, and my host Rob Boxing Shrew. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Excellent, not too bad. Now we've got a special podcast this week, haven't we, Rob? We've got a very special guest in Mark Neilson, who is the promoter of Neilson Boxing. And Mark, welcome to the show. It's absolutely fantastic to have you on. How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. What an introduction. I like the special bit. Don't normally get that. So, yeah, great to be on, guys. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Indeed, Mark, you are a very special guest. And Sports the Song listeners, just to make a mark as well, we are going to be working with Mark and his fantastic team at Neilson Boxing in the future at their shows, starting with the fantastic show in Liverpool on top of the Shankly Hotel. I mean, I don't think you can get any more sort of glamorous or unique than that. It's going to be fantastic, isn't it, Mark? Are you looking forward to Liverpool?
Absolutely. You know, I was only talking to Kyle at a previous show we had at your call, and we said, wouldn't it be great if we did a show in Liverpool? We had Jack McGann top of the bill. I think it was Friday the 1st of April. Jack McGann top of the bill. Great crowd, great boxer, great sort of backstory. We thought, you know, we could do it at Liverpool, right? We could go up there. And then, you know, they say that the stars align, and one thing happened after another. And then before you know it, it's like, hey, Mark, should we do a show in Liverpool? We've got a venue, we've got someone we know, we've got an opponent, and one thing led to another. Here we are. We're in Liverpool. So, yeah, absolutely. It's just brilliant. You know, we once upon a time with this sort of small Southwest promoter with big ambitions, and just a step at a time, we're getting to where we want to be, you know, on a rooftop at the Shankly Hotel in Liverpool. Oh, brilliant. I'm really excited about this. I mean, I love boxing and I'm always excited about the shows that we do, but I'm really excited about this show on a rooftop. Celebrities are going to be there. You know, it's, you know, this place has been on TV, hasn't it? It's quite famous, and you know, it's I'm really looking forward to it. Great show.
Yeah, and the setting is certainly just stunning, and also bringing boxing to a city like Liverpool is just phenomenal, isn't it? So, Sport to Song listeners, if you are listening, I believe there are tickets still available for the show. Get down there; it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Rob, you're from around that way. Boxing's a big deal in the Liverpool area, isn't it? And are you excited about the show as well?
Yeah, very much so. It's actually a big double whammy on the weekend for Liverpool as well, isn't it? Obviously coincided with a couple of shows up there. But I think you've got the word right with unique with this venue. I mean, how did it come about finding that venue in the first place, Mark? And because I've had a look into it, and I mean, I haven't seen it with a ring on it yet, but it looks bloody good.
Well, Jack McGann has obviously got this backstory where he's got an MMA background. His dad, Anthony McGann, is quite well known in the MMA circle. I'm not an MMA man. It's a bit like football and rugby. You're one or the other. And I'm not really, I don't really get it. I don't understand it. I'm a boxing purist. But Anthony McGann has got this gym in Liverpool called the Wolf's Lair, and he used to train or manage Michael Bisping. So he's really well known up there, really well established. And he's got contacts. He knows the owner of the Shankly Hotel, a guy called Lawrence Kenwright, a big property developer, owns a portfolio of a couple of $100 million or some silly number of property in that area. And he knows Anthony McGann very well. They were having conversations. He said, what about my venue? Anthony McGann says, Mark, we've got this potential venue. Guy I know, got a hotel, it's got a rooftop. They have 1,100 people on there on the Liverpool Cup final. What do you think about putting a show on? I like the sound of that. So, you know, and everything is like, you know, one little, you know, climb Everest one step at a time. It's like, right. Any boxer ever been there before? No. Health and safety. What floor? 6th floor. Right. Open air. Right. Okay. So, you know, I always think there's always a way. So, you know, we've gone up, we've done the inspections with the British Boxing Board of Control. We've gone through, you know, the access, the security, the capacity, got it approved by the board. Got ourselves a lineup sorted out with local Liverpool boxers, and just before you know it, we're here Friday, 5-fight card on the rooftop of the Shankly Hotel in Liverpool.
Not bad, eh? Not bad, eh?
Not bad.
Mark, just touching on, obviously it's fantastic for Neilson Boxing, and like we've said already, what a unique occasion it's going to be. But you must be, and of course you are, very proud of how far you've come with Neilson Boxing. And could you give Sport de Song listeners, and of course fans of Neilson Boxing, just a little brief idea of where Neilson Boxing has come from? Because it's been some journey, hasn't it, in boxing?
Well, it has, yeah. You know, we're a boxing family, Neilson's. We've sort of grown up with it. My dad's an ex-professional for Joe Bugner and Frank Bruno back in the 80s.
Wow.
You know, so it's, you know, I was an amateur boxer, my brother were amateur boxers, so we've grown up with it. My granddad was a secretary of the local amateur club. It's just what we knew. I went to my first world title with my dad, 1986, Bruno versus Witherspoon at the old Wembley Stadium. So it's in our blood. It's what we do. So in the early 2000s, I think my dad put on a couple of charity shows, and back in the early days, and you know, we also was involved in doing that, and then we sort of eventually moved into the professional field. Right, I thought, right, I want to get involved in the pros, you know, and then back in 2016, you know, small steps, but you know, we put on like a 4-fight card, Kelly Morgan and the WBC silver female world title in our first show. And then a couple of shows later, we had a Commonwealth, and then we had a WBC Youth with Akeem Ennis-Brown. And it's just like, you know, we were just getting some momentum going, and then COVID put the brakes on.
Yeah.
So you can take 2 years out of that from 2016. So then obviously we've opened back up last year, and then we've just gone with it. We've gone where we should have been. And I've got Kyle on board, my nephew. Yeah, he's our sort of matchmaker. He knows every boxer. He's one of those. He's like the knowledge now. You ask him about any guy. You ask him about Brad Strand's opponent. It's tell you his ranking, his record, who he fought. Brilliant. So he knows everything. So we've added that to the team. I've got Jared Hayter, who's our commercial manager. He's in charge of all the sponsorship and the marketing and things. You know, and that's propelling us. We've got our own graphics and artwork people who are sort of dealing with all the brand. I'm obviously, you know, looking strategically about growing it, you know, moving forward, scheduling it. I'm a businessman, so I can make sure the financial model is there to make sure all the numbers right. We can afford to pay what we're paying, because you know there are a lot of promoters in the UK, and we're now to bring us all bang up to date. We're probably now we're certainly at least top 10. If you think there's only 50 odd registered promoters in the UK, no more than double digits of them do more than 10 shows a year. Yeah. You know, you take out your Frank Warren, your Matchroom, your Wasserman, Steve Goodwin, your Fight Zone. You know, we all know who everyone is out there. We're on for 14 shows this year. So there's only a handful more than us. So we've managed to build the team, and it's snowballing. The momentum is with us, and the bigger we're getting, it's snowballing because we're putting on good shows. We've gone into London, we've done York Hall. That's opened up a whole world over there of boxers that we didn't have access to when we were Southwest. So we're working with managers and trainers who say, you know, I went to one of your shows, really liked it, and I know such and such who fought on your show. He said it was great. How do I get on? Who do I speak to? We're even getting, you know, we're promoters first and foremost, but we actually manage boxers as well. And I'm getting approached now from, you know, I had a meeting last week with a boxer in Essex who's a, you know, multiple sort of box cup champion, amateur medalist, wants to go pro. His mates, his mate's already a pro. They've been to one of our York Halls, wants to turn over. So that momentum is with us now. And, you know, we don't do too many shows because we're just going to be out every weekend, and you've got to have the right set of blocks, and you don't want to have to be spread too thin. Yeah. Because we want to get the quality of the show right. We've got to get the fights, the matching, the production. And so we only want to do enough that we're able to. We don't want to go too quick too soon, but we're growing at a pace so we can make sure that we're dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's, and the production levels where we want it to be, and we're able to deliver to all the boxers that we're working with. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, and just touching on that, Mark, I was at one of the shows in York Hall, and with the professional game, it's very much a spectatorship in that, you know, fans want to go along, they want to enjoy the occasion. It wants to be boxing for me still has that element of sort of, grandness about it. It's a good night out. And your shows, like you said, you don't spread yourself thin. They've got that fantastic boxing night feel about them. The lights are there, the colours, and that does add to the boxing spectacle, does it? I know we all want to see a good bout, but you can't beat the sort of glitz and glamour of the boxing, and that's what Neilson Boxing brings, doesn't it? And I hear what you're saying in that. You don't want to spread yourself too thin and sort of lose that standard. And certainly Neilson Boxing, from what I can see at the moment, is pushing on to new levels, really. And it's pretty, like you said, it's pushing towards the top echelons of boxing promoting in the UK.
Well, I've been to other promoters' shows, and there's some good ones, okay ones, and some bad ones, as in every industry. And when I go, I go to the shows that are good, and I think I like that. We'll do more of that. The ones that are not so good, I think, well, we won't do that. So I'm a boxing fan first and foremost. I sit there and I know what it's like to experience a good show. Yeah. I'm in Saudi Arabia watching AJ. I'm at Wembley Stadium watching Tyson Fury. I was at Wembley in 1986 watching Frank Bruno. I'm a fight fan, so I know what you want to see and what you want to watch. And I think we've gone through a few years where there's a number of promoters. I'm not going to say anything negative about any individual promoters. There's good and bad, and everyone's got their own challenges. But there's lots of shows where they were just okay. There's the home side of the card, a load of unbeaten prospects. On the right side of the card, a load of defeated, with a handful of wins between the whole lot. The room, all the lights were on. It's some sort of work, some sports centre. There's no branding. Could be anyone's show. All the crowd basically had come to watch their mate fight, and as soon as he fought, they all left. Yeah. There was just a small percentage of general fight fans. Like a Tyson Fury, 94,000 people in Wembley, but they're all in there all night to experience the whole evening, the whole event, the Sweet Caroline, and the big thing. They're not leaving at 8:30 when somebody they know's fought. They're staying there for the whole thing. Yeah. And that's our challenge, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the whole evening an event. So we're not skimping on production. We're spending more money on putting decent fights together because we're first and foremost put a really good show on, make some good competitive fights, make the production values really really high level. People are going to sit and think, yeah, this is a great night out. So they see a Neilson Boxing show. You want to get to the stage to a certain extent. I mean, I say UFC. I don't, they're just like a different level. But you don't, they'll sell out a show before they even announce who's on the card. Yeah, because people just want to go. So you want to get to the stage where people want to see Neilson Boxing at York Hall on that date. Come on, mate, that's a great night of boxing. Do you want to come out, Dave? We'll go out and have a night out. It's 40 quid a ticket, a couple of beers. What a great Saturday night out. They don't even need to know. And so we need to spin that percentage of people who are buying just the tickets off the box, so they go and see their mate, who then leave when he goes. So the general public who just want to come and watch a night of boxing, or then they want to watch their mate if they're buying a ticket and then stay in all night. So that's what we're trying to do, trying to make the whole evening a whole event. I mean, this Friday's like that. We know from previous experience, back in the early days, I think 60% of your ticket sales were in the room at any one time, because they'd come in and watch, Max from Gloucester fight, and then they'd all jump on the bus and go back to Gloucester on the lash, and it'd all empty out. But we're now moving that percentage up, so higher percentage is staying in the room for the duration of the evening, because of the quality of the fighting and the production is better. And we need to keep pushing that bar a little bit higher, and that's what the plan is. Keep moving forward.
Mark, you mentioned York Hall several times there. Now everyone knows York Hall, Bethnal Green, real home of grassroots boxing in this country. What's your and your family's history with that place? And because to me, looking at the dates that you've had there and that you've got coming up, it feels like you've almost got a residency there, to be honest. What does that place mean to you and your family?
Well, I spoke to my dad about it, and it's, my dad had 30 odd pro fights, never fought there. He fought, in a list of places that are, iconic, but not York Hall, and he's always gutted. It's one of those things that, it's one of those venues that all boxers, it's got the iconic venue tag. Not many have, and all boxers want to box there, all promoters want to promote there. I'm looking at the who's who. And even in recent, Queensbury still put shows on there. Matchboom still put shows on there. And the who's who of promoters have put shows on there. And of course, Neilson Boxing put shows on there as well now. So we're in, we're certainly in good company. It's iconic. It's nothing quite like it. When that place is full and buzzing, that old sort of Art Deco small hall feel about the place. They say small hall it's not small hall though. There's a lot of people in there. The venue is buzzing. You know, you feel like, and the boxers feel like the crowd are right on the edge of the ring. So it just gives them a great feeling. And then if you're sat there ringside or, you know, in your seats, even on those balcony overlooking it, you feel like you're as close to the action as it is any venue I've been in. So it's just a great, the history's great. You know, the who's who, I think, you know, I think Cole Fox made his debut there, and I don't know, you know, so it's just, I mean, everyone's fought there who's anyone, and it's on a bucket list of all boxers at some stage, you know, and we're promoting there now. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I think Sport de Song listeners will be very aware of what the York Hall means to me. And I just concur with what Mark said as well. It's just it's one of those places that you can't really put your finger on. It's got that magical feel to it, and you get that. It's got that spiritual sort of home of boxing, and you can sense that there's been, you know, wars there, and you know, people, you know, fantastic fighters making their debuts in there, and it's just got that feel to it, hasn't it, Mark? It's a special place for boxing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They like it, and we've done a few shows, and I've also watched a lot of shows when I've not been involved in, and there's nothing like it. It's you know, I'm sat there ringside watching the boxing, and it's like the hairs on the back of your neck. It's like, yes, this place is just, there's nothing like it. Brilliant. I mean, I don't think, and I think it's sort of quite commonly discussed, that I don't think it would get approved as a venue by the British Boxing Board if it came up for inspection now, because behind the scenes it's a rabbit warren. The changing rooms, it's up narrow stairs, little windy stairs, but you know, I think they're not going to take it away from anyone. It's, you know, they've restricted it to 10 fights just because of the logistics behind the scenes of where to put everyone and things, but you know, you can still make a cracking night with 10
there'd be some uproar if they took that away.
Absolutely.
So listen, Mark, thrusting us forward into to the 3rd of September at Liverpool, the Shankly Hotel. It's a fantastic card, and notoriously, or famously, sorry, Neilson Boxing, you make your cards very competitive for your fighters, don't you? There's never an easy fight on those cards, and you know, starting off with Jack McGann against is it Edvinus Pluskus? Is that how you say his name in the super welterweight division? I mean, that's going to be a great fight, and it's going to be very competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you pronounced that probably closer than I would have done. So, yeah, because so with Venus, we know him actually. So he's fought on one of my cards many moons ago, and he doesn't just turn up. You know, sometimes you can look at records and think, oh, okay, they're just going to come and roll over. We don't want those kind of opponents. Some of them, have got losing records, but they win, and they can upset things, and they come to fight. We never tell any of these, you know, you're coming in, you expect to do a job here, right? Week. It's none of that. You're coming here. If you fancy it, you know, there's going to be an upset, you know, and the home fighter, if they're good enough, they're good enough. If they're not, they're going to get found out. We're not into bringing these guys and piling them to 10-0, 12-0. And I remember a couple of years ago, I was in a gym, a local gym. It's a 14-0 fighter. He's fighting 14-0 area champion. He's sparring in a gym with some guy who's really good amateur, went on to fight for British, and he just got it given to him. And I thought, you're 14-0. It's just not right. He said, what's the point? Yeah. So, you know, you look at Jack McGann and the Venus, you know, he's like, I mean, Jack McGann's 300s odd in the world. Venus is like 100, I don't know, I haven't got it in front of me, 140 or something like that. Yeah. So he's way ahead of him in the world rankings. He's been around the block a long time. You know, Jack McGann, you know, everyone's talking to him about, well, you've won your last 2 by knockout. You knocked everyone out in MMA. Took you a few fights to get going. Now you stopped your last couple. Are you going to stop this guy who doesn't get stopped? And it's, you know, let's not get carried away. This guy, you know, he's coming. He's only been stopped once, this guy, in over 30, you know, he's had 30 odd fights. He's not coming just to go through the motions now. He's coming to put it on Jack. And if, you know, if Jack's not good enough, I mean, I think Shaquille Day, who was 13-1 or something, he did an upset on him, I think, a couple of fights ago. He's dangerous. Yeah. And Jack McGann knows he's dangerous, but they're up for that. They want dangerous. They don't want they want to get going. So they're rolling the dice.
Well, Paplauskas, he beat Tom Farrell last year, who's obviously, I believe he's from Liverpool as well, isn't he? And so there'll be a bit of yeah, he's fighting for the Scousers there, isn't he, Jack? But
yeah, I mean,
what a good fight.
He's turned up and upset a few of these undefeated boxers, isn't he? You know,
Yeah,
Shankly Day and Tom Farrell's quite good, and Tony Bange is just, you know, so there's no stroll in the park. But like I said, the McGann, Jack and his team, they want to just get going. They haven't had the amateur experience, but they're MMA. But they're, you know, everyone's thinking, wow, let's see how far I can go with these MMA guys. They haven't really got it. And he's like, okay, then we'll see. And he's just like, bring them on, give me the challenges. You know, and John Brennan was a good fight. That was a very good fight, you know. And John Brennan had a you know, decent record. He's been, you know, sort of like area title sort of level, been around the block, had like 20 odd fights, you know, and then he's you know, 4-round stoppage for Jack. Great main event this, you know, great main event. And of course it's his home show. He's top of the bill. First time he's fought as a pro in his home show in a really tough 10-round fight against the guy who's coming to win. Oh yes, that's good. That's a good fight. That's a good fight, that, isn't it?
Just before we move on, Rob, I hate the way you just so easily flip that surname off of your tongue. It's like, it's annoying.
I'm not too bad with him, to be honest. I'm not that bad, but yeah, he's a tough guy. I've looked into him, and like you said, he's only ever been stopped once, and that was 5 years ago. So you know, Jack's gonna, you know, if he wants to get another KO, he's gonna be up against it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a great fight, isn't it? A great main event, in my view. That's worth the ticket money itself. Just that fight, that 10-round fight there, the main event. You know, a 30-odd-year-old experienced guy who upsets the odds sometimes by stopping these guys. Jack McGann, an amateur experience, 6-0-1. You know, stopped his last two opponents, 10-round super welter main event. Lovely. Yeah. What a great main event.
Can I ask about Jack's other opponents, Mark, if you don't mind? Obviously, it's been well documented. He's had a couple of opponents pull out for various reasons. May I ask what happened with those?
Yeah, well, in boxing, it's, you know, I think there's over 1,000 boxers registered in the UK at any one time, and I think we the number is like late 20s is the amount of boxers we had concrete offers on the table for, who eventually all said no.
Wow.
Now, and that's very unusual. It's really hard getting in match. I was speaking to his father, Anthony McGann, yesterday, and I said, not, you know, it's very rare you have that sort of, you know, there's a lot of people say, Jack McGann, 6-1, yeah, that's no problem. You know, then they come back a couple of days later, no, we're actually going to give that one a miss, thanks. No, we've got other plans for our boxer. But that happens more and more, which is telling you there's you know, they're speaking to people in gyms, and he hits hard, Jack McGann. Yeah. And, you know, there's rumours about what he's like in sparring, and he stopped his last couple, and, you know, people know there's a lot of momentum behind him. And, you know, there's some silly money being thrown about because he's got some great sponsors behind him, and that's still not turning heads. So, you know, we had some big high profile names without going into the sort of the personal details of why the guys pulled out. But they fell through, but they'd have been cracking fights, cracking opportunities, some big money on the table for these opponents. But, you know, for one reason or another, they didn't sort of, you know, come through. I mean, we had, like I said, late 20s, concrete offers we had out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. But, you know, with one eye around the corner, you know, we've got a big budget offer for the November York Hall show with Jack McGann, with a really high profile name that's sort of like, you know, we've got like a signed contract already subject to getting through this weekend.
Brilliant.
Fantastic, absolutely amazing. And also on that card, just before we move on to the rest of the card, you know, if no one has seen Jack McGann fight, he really is a raw and exciting talent, and he's able to finish fights as well. He's got that ability and that weight, and like you said, Mark, that snapping his punches to finish fights. And you know, we try and steer away from it, but that's what people want to see. They want to see those exciting fights and those knockouts and the glitzy lights. And, you know, in Liverpool, that's what they're going to get, aren't they, this weekend? It's all going to be there with that bumper crowd as well. But it should be fantastic. And Rob, you've looked at the card as well. What else have you takes your eye?
Yeah, just moving down the card. Obviously, chief support is Brad Strand. He actually the last time he fought was in my hometown, believe it or not, in Telford. So But yeah, he's fighting against Alexandru Lanita. And I actually saw Lanita's last fight, Mark, on one of the BCB shows against Case Ashfaq. So he doesn't like a body shot. That's all I'll say.
Right, great, okay. Yeah, I mean, he's had like over 20 fights, so he's an experienced guy. Been around till mid-20s, tough guy. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Lions. That body shot.
Just on Brad Strand, I mean, we're looking at a really quite a classy boxer, aren't we? And how he sort of holds himself. He's got that sturdy defense, and he's almost got a patience in the ring, and he before he picks his shots, and he's a fantastic boxer to watch, isn't he, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. He's great. Great style on him. He's really. I think he's gonna. He's gonna. I mean, he's had 3 KOs out of his 7 so far. He's got some real good style. He's up to 12 now in the rankings in the super bantamweight. I don't think titles are going to be too far away. He's a Queensbury fighter. So he's with Frank Warren. They'll certainly have some big plans for him. So it's going to be interesting to watch his journey. Obviously, with our relationships with the Warrens, we have sort of access to some of these guys. It's just great to have him on the show. Great chief support with some great quality. That's a decent fight in itself. As you said, his opponent, he comes, he fights, he comes to win. I'm looking at some of the scores on some of his previous fights. He's not coming in and losing every single round, So he's, we know what we get. But Brad Strand fighting at, he's fought in Liverpool before, I believe. I think I've just had a quick look at Steve Maguire a couple of years ago. So he's fought in Liverpool before, but on an undercard, Jack McGann sort of main event on REUPLOAD Shankly. It's just all great. I mean, it's one thing, these they're fighting in these sort of conference centres and sports halls and that sort of stuff. But it's just such a different thing. It's one thing having these iconic old Victorian Art Deco York Hall, and now on a roof of a a trendy hotel on a rooftop in Liverpool. But I love that. He'll love that. It's nice.
Brad Strand has fought in some very different sort of circumstances, because he first came to my attention on a BT show behind closed doors when they did one of their first sort of COVID shows, if you like. He's getting the full array, and he's only had 7 fights, so it's a great experience.
Yeah, well, I just want obviously Frank. He doesn't sign anybody unless they've got real championship potential. He doesn't sign average fighters. So anyone signed to Queensbury, they've got big plans, big intentions for him. And so they're keeping him. There's only so many dates Frank Warren's got, and he's got a big stable of boxers. It works for us because we can take that sort of caliber, because we've got that sort of in with the Warrens. We can take that sort of caliber and drop it onto our shows. Brilliant. So good for us. Good for the show.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, it's a good division as well. I mean, bantam and super bantam in Great Britain is a joke at the minute. There's so many fighters across different promoters. I mean, you mentioned the Warrens there. Obviously, we've got Brad, Liam Davis, Andrew Kane, Nick Ball's in and around that weight. And Nick Ball, that'd be a great all Liverpool fight, wouldn't it, down the line?
Wouldn't it? There's some really good, Hopi Price. There's some good, Jack Baton. The U5s going up. I mean, there's some good boxers in that. It's a tough old division, isn't it?
Yeah. So, before you even get to European level, it's just over here.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he's only ranked 12, 7-0. Just shows you the caliber. The people above him. But there's some really experienced people ahead of him. So he's going to slowly creep up the rankings, and I'm sure Frank will have him fight for the titles at some stage next year.
Fantastic.
And so what else was we looking at, Rob? We've got the super middleweight fight between Leon Willings and Baraja Karami. Have you taken a look at that? I mean, Leon Willings is a big guy for the weight, isn't he? He's got that great stance in the ring and that thrusting jab. Have you seen much of him, Rob? Have you taken a look?
No, I haven't. I've had to do a bit of research because I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if he's been on televised before. If he has, I've missed it. He's going to be in a tough one. I'm sure you'd agree, Mark, because we don't know much about Karami, his opponent, because it's his debut, and I could find very little online of him. What do you know about him?
Yeah, well, we're the same actually. Their team sort of suggested him to us and said, we found this guy. I mean, Leon's actually coming off a loss off his last fight against, Robbie Chapman, who's a really experienced guy, which he wasn't expected to lose. But so he's coming back and needs a bit of a confidence boost. So, we're hoping that this guy isn't going to come and upset things. But, it happened to him last fight, losing to Robbie Chapman, only a few months ago on points. It's only a point in it and a 4-rounder. Wasn't supposed to happen. He had an off night. So he's just going to dust the cobwebs off, just get his confidence back. But he's a bit of a heavy-handed guy. So, interesting fight for Leon. He's had one stoppage. He's obviously had his loss now. That shouldn't have happened, but let's see if he could just put it behind him. When this happens to these guys in these sort of single digits and they have a loss, it's not like, people can sometimes sort of like dismiss somebody if they've got a loss and they haven't got an undefeated record. Sometimes I can make them a better boxer because they might have done something wrong in their training camp, didn't have their preparation right, weren't in the right place on the night, and they'll learn a lot from that, and they'll be thinking, I don't want that to happen again. So usually their first night back, their first fight back following defeat, if they can just blow that out of the way and put that down to memory, they'll come back stronger from it. So an odd loss like that could actually be the making of the guy. So that's why I think what everyone's helping them. Listen, so we don't want to go and put him back in a 50-50. Everyone wants to see 50-50s, but every show can't be full of 50-50s because he's got guys, so he's coming back off a loss. They want to come back. He's got, nothing's a stroll in the park these days because these guys upset things. But we'll see if he's learned from that and come back, he'll be wanting to think, well, I'm going to come out and prove that was just a one-off. So I'm going to come back and look really impressive. So that's what we hope to see.
And Mark, it's really refreshing that you say that as well, because I think at the moment, especially in boxing and with these sort of stats with boxers having their own and that sort of stuff, it's nice to hear that some boxing promoters are moving away from that, because it really is boxing. It is a sport that you need to learn. It's experience. It's about getting those rounds in, and a young man like Leon Willings. He's 21 years of age, I believe. And, for him to lose like that, it could almost be shattering. But if he's got the right people around him, it's right to see that it's actually, it's not always a bad thing at this sort of stage in your career, because you learn an awful lot from that, don't you?
Yeah, well, you can't be putting people in 50-50s on their first, second, third, fourth fight, because there's a time for that. And you can't also fill a card with those kind of fights. But you've got to spread the card about. You can have your big Jack McGanns on the top of the bill. You're going to have your title fights on the top of the bill. And as you work your way through the card, there's going to be these sort of development fights. And something like Leon, he needs to come back, needs to have a win, and then push forward again. But if you get a guy who's 2-0 and 3-0, he might have had 50-60 fights as an amateur and the 3-rounders. He turns pro. He goes in the 4-rounders. Some of these journeymen, some of these like Eastern European experience are tough guys. They know how to rough you up. They stick the head in, they lock the arm, they stick the air. If you don't learn that, by the time you get to a 50-50, you're 6, 7, 8, 9, or you're fighting for titles at 10, 11, 12. If you haven't done that apprenticeship, you're in trouble. So you need to learn the ropes. You need to do the 4-rounders. Get in with the rough journeyman who's going to come in and put it on you and lean on you and twist arms and lock your arm and rub the head in your face, and and you're going to bruise your way through that to a points win. Because by the time you get to your 50-50 with the other guy with a really decent record, that's going to benefit you, because there's going to be no surprises by the time you get to that. So something like, so you say it's refreshing. Yes, to a certain extent, that's what every card should be like. That's what every boxer should be like. If you put them in to a 50-50 on their second or third fight, and then they lose, they may think, stuff it, and you've lost them before they've even got started.
Yeah.
And they may, you might lose some really good talent, because one of them is going to lose, and just too much too soon. Let them learn, let them develop, but there's got to be a place for that. And you don't want to fill some small show down in the depths of the country just filled with 2-0s and 3-0s and 2-0s and 3-0s. So we want them to, and also they need to be in the bigger shows so they can see what it's like to stand up in front of 1,500 people under the lights and get everyone shouting for them. So as they move up, someone like Leon, by the time he, this sort of experience now, by the time he gets to 8, 9, 10, start fighting for titles, he's got a bit more seasoned. He go from a 4-round to the 6th round to the 8, and then he can fight in a 10, and then in 10 rounder for like an area title or whatever. He's a bit more seasoned, a bit more experience. That's just common sense, really.
Yeah, I agreed. The O is just so precious, isn't it? Commercially, and it does it's one of the things I hate most in boxing, if I'm honest, the protecting Neo. So yeah, completely agree with both of you.
Well, listen, I mean, I told you about that 14-0 one in the gym.
Yeah.
It is just padded. If you think whoever your favourite boxers are, they've all lost, right?
Mm.
There's a handful of undefeated too. We've got Kawasaki and Mayweather and Marciano. Who's undefeated? So everyone's lost.
One of my favourites was Lennox Lewis, and he lost a couple of times. So
they lose, don't they? So you can't beat people up because they've got a loss or two on the record. As long as you just learn from it, improve, and move forward, so be it. If you don't imagine if you go and lose a few on the bounce. What was Johnny Nelson? He lost his first God knows how many, then went on to be undefeated for 4 years or something like that. So
yeah, well said.
Yeah, is any other on the card there, Rob, that takes your fancy? This
the Marcel Braithwaite one does intrigue me. One, because I love the flyweight and super flyweight divisions. While they last, you just never see it's very rare you see. I don't want to jinx it, but it's very rare you see a poor fly or super flyweight fight. It's just all action. Obviously Marcel's been in very good company, hasn't he, over the years with likes of Sonny Edwards, Jay Harris, and a couple of others. But so yeah, he's obviously going in with Stephen Maguire, who's got a losing record, but a tough lad. Merseyside versus Lancashire could be tasty.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's, they're hoping to get through this, and they've got one eye around the corner on a really big fight that hopefully, if he gets through this, that might be out, can be announced shortly. But like you said, he's been in some good company. There's no shame in losing to like a Sonny Edwards, because we all know how good he is.
Yeah.
But he's got some good names on his record. He's a good guy. He's had some good sort of emphatic wins against a really good competition. But like you said, at that weight, they're all busy, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't start with the heavyweights, going to fight, feel each other out for a couple of rounds, see how it goes. And when they go bang, first bell goes, busy, they're off. And they want to win every minute of every round. And all these fights, we've got Jack McGann in a 10 round and all the others are 6-rounders. So cracking. He's coming in, he'll do his job, and we've got one eye around the corner for a big title fight for Marcel, but that'll be announced by his team at some stage in the future.
Superb. And then rounding off the card, opening the show, Adam Carberry. Talk to us about that one.
Yeah, well, he's in the gym with actually Jack McGann, so he's part of the Martin Murray crew. So really good talent, great fighter. They've got some really high hopes for him. As I said, local lad, training in the same gym. They all know each other up there. So Super Feather, again, going to be a busy fight. 2-0, third fight for him, his first 6-rounder. So, let's see what he can do. I mean, I haven't seen him fight before. I've heard about him, Martin Murray. We all know Martin Murray. And so, you've got Jack McGann in the gym trained by Martin Murray. So, he's in good company. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing him. Not seen him fight before. So, but, good local lad. He sold a backload of tickets. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, fantastic.
What is the capacity on Friday, Mark?
Well, we're going to probably have about 1,200 in there.
Nice.
Yeah, so real nice. It's a mix between an inside bit and outside. I mean, if you Google it and look at like the Liverpool Cup final, I think they had 1,400. There's big screens dotted about, and
wow.
It's such a great different. You're on the rooftop overlooking the skyline of Liverpool with the Liver buildings just across the way. Of course, it's going to be at night time as it gets dark. So they lit up Liverpool skyline with on the rooftop. Great, eh?
Yeah, some weekend for Liverpool as well. It's Liverpool-Everton on Saturday.
What a weekend. Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely.
And also for myself and Rob, Mark, we want to say just thank you very much for having us down at Liverpool. We're really looking forward to really getting involved with Neilson Boxing and sort of showcasing what you guys are trying to do, and also highlighting the fantastic boxers you have on your road. Are you excited to have the Sport Disson crew with you on the weekend?
Do you know, I am. We listen, I've as we're growing, we're sort of gathering different organizations with us, if you like.
Yeah.
So, and I never say no to anyone for an interview. I don't want to belittle this podcast, obviously, this evening, but I always will give, but there's some we connect with who get it. We understand them. They understand what we're about, but they can see that the journey we're on, and we like the message, and we like the work that they do. And you're one of those sort of like, one of those organizations. We like what we saw. We back in April, I think we first sort of came across each other, saw the work that we did. We sort of speak the same language. Yeah, glad to have you sort of involved. I mean, you know, you're just starting to see us. What is a big snowballing sort of momentum for us, but still, we're only just getting started. So you're sort of joining us at an early stage of this really big journey. And I, you know, strategically, some of the meetings I've got over the next few weeks and next month could really explode this. So it's great to have people like you on board who can sort of get our message out there. You know, I can talk boxing people like you because you know, all day, all night, because you get it. We can just talk boxing. I'm a boxing man. And it's great to have people like you on board that we can just, you know, instead of this stage, because there's a big journey ahead and it's going to be really exciting. So yeah, good to be working with you guys.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. And Rob, we're going to be getting our glad rags on for Liverpool and sport this song listeners. If you can tune into Neilson Boxing YouTube, you'll see myself and Rob. We will hopefully be getting some good interviews of the boxers after the fights, and we'll be having a chat with Mark as well on top of that fantastic hotel, the Shankly Hotel. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. It's been fantastic talking to you, Mark. Thanks again very much for your time, and we will be seeing you in Liverpool.
Absolutely. Doors open 6:30, first fight 7:30. Still some tickets available. Rooftop, 6th floor, Shankly Hotel. I tell you what, there's a little show on the TV, I think, somewhere else on the Saturday night, but the Friday night's one you want to be at.
I agree. Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely agree. Well, listen, Sport to Song listeners, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. We will see you next week with the Sport to Song podcast, and we'll also be looking at the fights and reviewing everything that happened at the Shankly Hotel. So until then, we'll catch you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers guys.